Artie, it's a theme song.
Those are the worst theme songs ever. It's Brovicast. I got nothing. It's, hey, what rhymes with bear?
Scare.
This is Tuesday, March. No, Tuesday. Wednesday, March 27th. I'm full of all kinds of issues. I'm like a 7th grader.
Oh my God.
This is the advanced class. We're going to be getting into Gospel according to Larry and finding out about why lying to your friends is fun. I also have hoodies I'll be handing out. I also have your camp information we're going to be getting to in a moment. Covering all of that fun stuff. And did anyone have myth test corrections to turn in? Nope. Once again, the sooner you get them turned in, the sooner I will try to fix your grade. But you're more than welcome to wait till after spring break and make that future use problem. I'm okay with that too. I will explain this at the end of class, because this will be what you're going to be writing stuff down, so we'll come back to the screen, and we'll cover all of this to make your life easier. Those of you at home, it's not going to do any good because you're not going to find out your stuff anyway. Child.
Okay, so I know you've probably already said this, but when you do test corrections, does it, if you get it wrong, does it deduct?
I'm not that mean. I can only be still a level of a mean, and that's too mean for me, so I didn't make a mean choice.
Is it really?
I didn't. Okay, for some of you it will be. I'll charge you points. For some of you I'll charge you points, even if you get it right. She's the one I'm talking to.
I'm not.
Don't make me yell at you all the time.
Did you fix my test?
So now taking a look at Gospel according to Larry, going from there, shaking your head angrily at me only makes me ignore you more. Since we got into the beginning bits, we have nothing really. We just found out who the main character was. Oh yeah, the Janet Tasjian was met by the kid, and he did the tree post thing.
We read that.
Then you guys yelled at me because I was going to break my kneecap or something like that. And then my favorite advanced class did not yell at me because they let me go ahead and break my kneecap.
Whatever. They don't care about you.
We care about you.
What? You guys care about yelling at me. Then we got to Walden, and then we got to that part, and then we've not gotten to that.
We got to the Beth was rabbiting. The end of the second paragraph.
We did get to the end of the second paragraph. Now, picking up from there, Beth was rabid about the whole thing. We're going to be talking about this whole website thing. Josh, I know neither one of us has ever joined a club in our life, but that's precisely why we should. I tried to listen to the details of her story. I really did. But there's something about Beth's mouth that gets in the way of paying attention to its contents. Footnote, she would hate me for saying this with her "don't you objectify me" rant. But protest all you want, Beth. It's the truth. She often wore a certain brown lipstick and outlined the edges of her lips with this pencil she carried in her bag. Every time she talked, it was like this pale chocolate snow cone staring up at me, waiting to be eaten. I've been in love with her since 6th grade.
So weird.
She didn't have a clue. I know. Love is always weird. Just get used to it.
How are you in love in 6th grade?
You know how people are. I'll help you with the club, I said. But just so the two of us can bag all the meetings and laugh at the other people who do show up. She was not amused. This isn't a joke. Someone is finally talking about the things I've been saying all along, and I think it's important to help spread the word. Are you in or are you out? Of course I'm in. I can't let you do this on your own. Next thing I know, you'll be running for prom queen or something. Yeah, she punched me in the arm, her usual form of affection. Hey, why don't you help me at the store this afternoon? We're having a run on shovels. Now, Beth's father's hardware store had been our work/treehouse/summer camp since grammar school. Sorting the nuts and bolts, counting the different light bulbs, shoveling the wood chips into wheelbarrows had never seemed like a job to either one of us. The small store prided itself on carrying everything a homeowner could need, but for a loner like me, it was a non-threatening way to be a part of the community without too much social pressure. I told Beth I'd meet her there at 4. For a brief moment, I pretended we were a couple, not snowbound outside Boston, but romping through the Caribbean surf, tan, in love. My fantasy shattered, however, when she waved goodbye and headed across the cafeteria to Todd Terrific, a new jock she was obsessed with. Ooh, what do you call a name that starts with multiple letters with the same, or multiple name? Sorry, I butchered it. Way to be better than me. Yeah, Todd Terrific. Can someone please explain to me how this preoccupation with dopey athletes happens even to headstrong young women who work in hardware stores and score 1350s on their SATs? Beth, what are you doing to me? Life was cruel and unfair. What did this Larry guy have to say about that? The rest of school went by like the movie Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray wakes up and every day is the same, down to the last boring details. By the way, if it's a movie you've never seen, then you definitely should go out and see it. I made my daughters watch this past Groundhog's Day. It is an awesome movie. Even when something new did happen, fire drill, substitute teacher, it was still just a giant yawn in the storyline. To keep myself amused during study hall, I invented a new alphabet based on the sense of smell. Footnote: I also wrote a skit for Monty Python, in case they ever wanted to reunite, then drew sketches for the Gumby art project I was working on. Gotta keep busy, I always say. Again, if you're unfamiliar with Monty Python, do yourself a favor, and when you're sitting in math class, go onto YouTube and look up Monty Python, and then just be prepared to get in trouble for laughing, because they're absolutely hilarious and awesome.
I don't know who
And then Gumby this is Gumby, the little green guy who's hanging from up there. He's also back over there. Gumby's not quite as hilarious as Monty Python, but it was from Saturday Night Live. It was like a little sketch character who was like all green and stuff like that, and ran around being goofy. Then became like a children's TV show life. Anyway, at home that night, I booted up my laptop and logged on. I checked my email, then the small portfolio of stocks my mother left me when she died. I made one last online stop to Larry. I wondered if Beth was doing the same thing at the same time, an unrequited cyber date. The Larry logo filled the screen, a peace sign with a dove, a floppy disk, a planet, and a plug inside each of its 4 sections. Should look like that. I scrolled down through several photographs to comments people had written that day. Poljan posted a new link to Adbusters. Toe Jam ranted about Larry's last sermon, calling it brilliantly flawed. I was in the middle of reading his argument when Peter knocked quickly, then stuck his head in my room. "You want some leftover pizza?" My stepfather was the ultimate businessman. Even in his terry cloth robe and slippers with the squashed heels, he could command his advertising consulting firm from the brink of failure to unbridled success. He had the whole sales thing down. The firm handshake, the warm smile, the good listening. It was the real Peter, not some put-on, like lots of other guys at his company. He looked over my shoulder, checked out the screen. "Huh, yeah, I've heard about this Larry," he said. "Some guy bashing all words are hard. Some guy bashing our culture online. Anonymous coward. Some people think it's one of the big televangelists trying to reach the teen market. Or maybe it's a bored housewife in the suburbs looking for something to do." Peter shook his head. "Probably some hacker trying to make a name for himself." "All right, I'll add that to the list of hypotheses." "Yeah, you do that." He handed me a slice of pizza on a paper towel. "You want to have dinner at Catherine's tomorrow? That okay with you?" "That's sure. Great." Catherine was my stepfather's girlfriend, who'd been putting on the full court press to be the next Mrs. Swenson. I didn't have the nerve to tell Peter I found her as interesting as a bag of rice. Before I get to the sermon that's coming up real quick, because it gets confusing when you're like, that's his stepfather, and the stepfather has a girlfriend? What's good? So we'll find out more later on, but I'm going to give you a quick explanation now to make life easier. Josh grew up with mom and dad. Dad left him when he was young, so then it was just mom and Josh. Mom gets cancer and dies, and so then it's just Josh. Luckily, mom was then dating this other guy, Peter, who becomes his stepdad. Stepdad adopts Josh, so now it's just Josh and stepdad. His real dad's gone, mom died. So now dad, stepdad, now stepdad's dating new girl, Catherine. "Mr. Bobiak, is there a chart?" We can eventually make a chart if that helps you out. But just go of Josh, put both parents, and then go, "Rock, rock, rock, rock," and now they're dead. And they have a little arrow that says stepdad, and like a little heart bubble next to that says Catherine. And then one below that has like a little frowny face, and that's Josh.
Okay.
And hopefully that helps you out. We'll find out. Catherine's not awful, but, parents. Peter closed the door and headed downstairs to his office. I browsed the Larry archives, then printed out the latest sermon to prepare for Beth tomorrow. Sermon number 93. Slip on your Gap jeans, your Nike t-shirt, your Reeboks, or maybe even your Cons if you think that makes you cool and ironic in a Kurt Cobain kind of way. Do you guys know what Cons are?
No.
Converse shoes. For those of you, they're Cons. For those of you who are like, "Mr. Broviak, no one wears Cons today." Grab your Adidas backpack, ride to school on your Razor, drink your Poland Spring, eat your Power Bar, write a paper on your iMac, slip on your Ralph Lauren windbreaker, buy the latest CD from Tower, check the caller ID to see who's on the phone, eat your Doritos, drink your Coke, stare at the TV till you're stupefied. Is there any time of the day when we're not being used and abused by the advertising companies? Can we have an inch of free space? Do you mind? Some ambitious kids rent their headspace, the outside, not the inside, although the inside space is certainly emptier, to local companies by shaving ads into their hair for all their friends to see. It's just a matter of time before corporations figure out a way to sell you stuff while you're sleeping. Maybe some kind of vitamin that releases visual and sonic enzymes that run like a ticker tape through your dreams. All the latest releases now at Blockbuster. Cheesier nachos at Chili's. By the way, you're snoring. Am I the only one who sees the irony of sitting in literature class reading 1984, having a discussion of Big Brother, watching out for us like it's sometime way in the future? Some science fiction nightmare that's never really going to happen? Hello! Our lives can be more dictated by the corporations if they gave our schools audio-visual equipment in exchange for making us watch commercials in class. Oh, yeah, they do that already. Never mind. Good thing Peter hadn't hung around for that one. By 2 a.m., I had 14 pages of notes for the new Larry Club. Footnote, I'd help Beth for as long as possible, providing I could leave the club as soon as it got weird. Too many people at the same time usually sends me heading for the hills. When I added up all the things I'd done for Beth over the years, I figured it was more effort than they put into developing the last space shuttle. And completely and totally worth it. Sam.
Could you ever say how old this book was or when it was dated?
Late 90s, early 2000s when this stuff's taking place.
I only asked because that whole sermon completely dated it. I was like,
Right, I was going to go back in there. Now, some of it does date it when they talk about like the latest releases now at Blockbuster. Do you guys know what Blockbuster is?
Yeah.
Like old, like we used to go to
You could rent movies there, and like before we had Netflix, yeah, it was Redbox, but it was a whole store, and so but now Blockbuster's gone. And then same thing when they say buy the latest CD from Tower. We don't really buy CDs anymore, but that was a big thing that happened. But yeah, I agree. They do date it, but at the same time it's not dated because the whole what's the theme of that particular rant? Luke? Yeah. The idea of kids only wanting to get all the newest, coolest stuff. Whatever it might be. There's like, give us a moment where you're not always trying to get all the latest, greatest things. Luke, do you have another thing? Did you have another thing? That happens sometimes. Yes.
So, is the book like, was this written in the early 2000s or was it like, or is it
both?
Just made?
It took place during that time period, and then
But it's being written in.
No, this book is almost 20 years old.
Okay.
So yeah, because it came out right after these events happened, and then he wrote the story, and then it got published and stuff like that. So it all connects to like way back times.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I've read ahead, does that mean that this guy's still technically speaking alive?
Oh yeah, which we're going to talk about when we get to it too. So, but don't ruin things. Hashtag spoiler for the book away.
Just
I only read part 1 and a little bit over.
We'll get there. And so that's the big thing. Oh, the things it's mentioning in there is something called Channel 1 News. We watch CNN most of you watch CNN during fifth period. We used to have a thing before CNN called Channel 1. And it was CNN, but it had commercials in there. And the way that Channel 1 News worked is they told schools, if you let us put TVs in your school, we'll put them in there for free, but you have to show our TV show every day to kids. And they could afford it because companies would pay good money to put a commercial on there because kids were forced to watch it. If you've been in the cafeteria, they have those really big TVs that are sitting up there like in the corners and stuff like that. They came from this company where all they did was go around and put TVs in schools and we were able to play commercials for you. We now do CNN instead because CNN doesn't show commercials. It's just all information. And so Channel 1 was CNN, but with commercials. And like half it would be like, you should go buy this brand new toy! Like that. And kids like just have to sit there and watch it the entire time. So that's what he's talking about, the fact that companies, all they do is try to push advertising at you to try and make you buy their stuff. And kids, all they want to do is buy the stuff that advertising tells you to buy. We'll come back to that one. All right.
How will you give us our information?
Why a radish?
I could. Oh, yeah, well, that's a good. We finished that chapter, so we'll stop there.
Oh, I was right.
Tomorrow, we're going to do a lot more straight-through reading without interruption. We're going to try and get to the good stuff.
The good stuff. That's also good stuff.
The gooder stuff.
The gooder stuff.
Wow, it's all
All right, on your yellow piece of paper, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to be giving you your name and going through. If you are missing stuff for either Randall or Melling, I will tell you, you are missing stuff for Randall or Melling. You're going to have to take this yellow sheet to them and have them initial it saying that you are cleared and good. Otherwise, you will not get it. If you're telling me now, I've turned it in, it's okay, I don't care. You're going to have to get it initialed by them before you get cleared. Your study group is going to be a letter between A and Y. This is the one that you're going to have one of your 4 friends in there. So all of you should have one of your 4 friends unless you're a really bad kid. If you're a really bad kid, you're not in here, so don't worry about it. Cabin, you're going to have a number between 1 and 26. You are going to have a different friend most likely. So it might be the same one, but usually I try to give you a different friend in there, so you have a different friend on the cabin. Whoever friend you have in your cabin will be on your bus, because everybody in your cabin is on the same bus, because the bus is 3 cabins put together. So you might have other friends on the bus for your whole thing. The table is numbered between 1 and 32. You probably won't have a friend there. Most likely it is random, unless a parent is going or a friend's parent is going, and then you might be that friend's friend that's going to be at that table. The hopper. We have people set the table for every meal while we're there. And so the very first meal that we're there, before I have a chance to pick, I had to pick the 2 most responsible kids. So I picked 2 responsible kids at each table. If you got picked, congratulations. You're one of the 2 most responsible people that I know at your table. If you did not get picked, it just means there's a more responsible kid at your table, which might happen because sometimes there's going to be a table with like 6 honor society kids there. And so I only had to pick 2 of them. It doesn't mean you're an awful kid. It just means that there's other good kids at your table. So don't freak out. If you got no, it just means eventually you're going to be a hopper. You're just not a hopper yet.
Yeah.